Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I'm Bankrupt, joined again by Jake and Adam.
What's going on, yo?
Hey everyone.
In today's matchup, well, it's Jake versus Adam. Jake has brought us Power Pole, and Adam's brought back Blue Majin Buu with that amazing TCG Metal Leader. Check them out; they're good friends of ours. Today's matchup, you see it. I just said it. I'm losing track of processing now. Buttons, links, guys, take it away.
Yeah, decided to really play the game today, huh, Jake, with the blue finger?
Yeah, kind of hurt my hand at work earlier in the week, so yeah, there we go. Had to take
Powerful,
care of
how you liking it?
I think it's a really mechanically unique and flavorful deck. I think it's a deck that really punishes you for missing your effects or mis-sequencing your abilities. And I think there are, well, it's a big step down from the red decks that we're used to. I feel like even Pan can do a little bit more craziness than this deck is capable of. So I think as far as competitive viability, it might not be there for Power Pole, but as far as like mechanics and flavor go, it's a really interesting and fun deck.
I will say the best part about Power Pole, in my opinion, is you mentioned earlier, like mechanic of it. It is the first deck I think in this in Dragon Ball that's kind of came close to the idea of equipment.
Yeah,
I don't know why I did quotations. No one can see it, but that with the Power Pole card kind of adding a buff or adding a secondary effect and whatnot, it's pretty cool. I feel like.
yeah, that part's really fun. Getting to like KO your opponent's battle cards basically for free, and then getting to draw a card out of it once per turn is pretty nice. But you've seen other decks that are able to do that with like fewer cards. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah.
But I think this kind of goes in the right direction. Like if they ever were to make like equipment cards or another deck like this, I think this is like along the lines of what they need to do.
Well, my whole, going up against red, I knew that I was probably going to see this deck. I knew that I was probably going to see green Gohan as well. I know that there's a lot of playing cards with skills. One of the things I sided in is that amazing card that I wish we get another reprint, which is Heroic Prospect.
We
try to slow that down. But I brought back Blue Majin Buu. I've kind of decided that I'm going to play decks with characters that I like or mechanics that I like, rather than trying to chase the meta. Because you got to really commit to that in order to be able to have fun doing it. And I think that I want to. In a lot of cases, if you're really good at playing the deck, you can put up a good fight against a lot of these meta decks.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that.
You've been playing Concreta for, what is it, 5 years now or 6?
Yeah, I think 6 years. Pretty much since that deck came out, and yeah, it just keeps getting better. I feel like, I will say in recent sets, I think there are decks that are able to do stuff that I think for the first time I'm actually jealous of. You know, with Trunks Vegeta, you're like, man, that seems really strong.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about Blue Buu versus Power Pole today. So
Yeah, you kept doing a really good job of clearing out my board. That Majin Buu that you see in my drop area up in the top right, and the one that you just picked up, have abilities to play really big boys out for very little. So you did a really good job at making sure I wasn't able to get those effects off.
yeah, it's been a long time since I've played against this matchup, and there's a little bit of new spice coming in with that oob.
They
But
call me the Spice Lord.
yeah. But I knew that those 1 and 3 drops were really important as to like how you played your big guys out later, but it's going to be difficult to keep them off the board for the whole game, especially when you're playing, multiple threats a turn for one energy or sometimes for free.
Yeah. Yeah, that unison works out really well for me. That six drop oob also works with my leader because it's a blue Majin leader. So that was a nice little thing to add in. At the end of my turn, it basically goes underneath your leader to give it a -5K for the turn, and then it comes back to my battle area at the start of my next turn. So kind of protects itself in that way.
And it's interesting that we both kind of have like kidnap mechanics
Yeah,
in
yeah, I
our
like that
deck.
a lot.
And I think this was really the turn where you really showed me like how much you've grown as a player. I think sometimes in the past you might have been okay with like the actions you already made on your turn. But here you see that I'm tapped up, awakened, no way to restand energy, and you're like, let's just go for it. Let's spend a
Yeah.
bunch of energy, put a bunch of pressure on him, and make him make decisions about what's in his hand and if he's going to take life.
Yeah, I tend to feel most comfortable in the color blue because I even when I play other colors, I'm like, oh well, I can go ahead and tap out because I have ways to untap my energy, but it's not as easy in other colors. So that's something that I really like about blue is you're able to restand and be able to not just go pretty hard in, but then you're also able to handle the crackback a little bit easier than some other colors.
And here's where the sequencing and decision making gets a little bit difficult. I should probably go into the Z card at this point. Yeah, looks like that's what I'm gonna do. Um, and now the best thing to do would be to like swing in with this 5 drop, and then yeah, that's fine. Gonna activate the power pole. He's got barrier, so I can't pick him. We'll pick this guy, and then I'll get the draw from that. And that's really one of the better sequences that this deck is capable of. Unfortunately, Heroic Prospect comes down here, so not only do you get to put me under a floodgate, but you get a little bit of pressure back on the board too, which is
Yeah.
what I've been trying to alleviate by, popping battle cards with Power Pole and swinging into stuff or swinging into your Unison occasionally, but just not really finding a good way out of this pressure yet.
And what's interesting about like looking at the board state on mine, it looks like I've got a whole lot of things to kind of do, but a lot of my cards, well, a couple of my cards, they're really just combo pieces, like those boos that you see in the energy, as well as the one cost that I just played. They're not attacking, they're not really doing anything. They're just there to try to survive so that I can get bigger guys out. But I do kind of feel good about where I'm at. And gosh, that's such a good promo.
Yeah. Um, Gohan defeating the demon is pretty nuts, and I was lucky enough to get a winter copy at some point, but I think this is a card that was very close to being banned when other red leaders were in the meta, and now I think it's a pretty fair counterplay, all things considered. On the more
Mhm.
powerful end, but more fair than it used to be, like it was in Red Sin.
It's a blocker too, isn't it?
Double strike blocker.
Can't go wrong there. So here I finally get that combo piece off where I'm able to bring out the big 7-drop Boo, which allows me to restand an energy. But it also, when it attacks, it can choose a card
I think
to
we
go
have to call a
underneath.
judge here.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we do because it doesn't actually go underneath me, but fortunately there's a comma in that auto um, that allows me to still be able to restand, even if the card doesn't go underneath.
Yeah, and also needed to be sure that I could block. So here we are walking it back for the judge.
Yeah. Initially, you had blocked with the Piccolo, right? But then I had decided to eat it instead. So
Mhm.
we're trying to get the sequencing. Can we go back and you can choose a new blocker if I eat the other one?
Yeah, and because it's a permanent, it's one of those things where it's always going. It's always in a constant effect until it's triggered in a sense. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not triggered like an auto would be. So yeah,
Thanks, Jimmy.
you just call me Jimmy.
No, I'm saying thanks to him for coming and ruling and
Yeah.
being so cool, being a cool guy. So this is, I was not expecting this particular SCR. I don't know that I've ever, had that put down on me. So I had to make sure that I knew that there was some way for it to clear a board or something like that. But what made you choose to go with this SCR?
I don't really have any good red secret rares, so
It's tough.
uh,
Red is a tough color to have SCRs in.
yeah. And Pan is a pretty solid card in general. You can take control of something with it. You turn off battle card attacks, which now that unisons are a lot less popular and Z battle cards have kind of taken uh those resources away from unisons. I feel like Pan has gotten a little bit stronger. Unfortunately, she is susceptible to a lot of counterplays. So uh even if you, because her cost can get reduced all the way down to zero, but the floodgate portion of her effect is still in the green text. So even if she gets counterplayed, you'll still get the floodgate effect. So
I wanted.
decent card all around.
I was gonna ask since you mentioned it. Um, Adam, you could have attacked with your unison, but you decided just to pass the turn instead. Was that a like? Did you make that choice, or was kind of like, oh, it's Pan, okay, I'll just pass my turn and just go on from there?
No, I'm not. I'm not deductive enough to have seen that and said, "Oh, this is probably not a good idea to attack." So it probably was just I a mistake on my part.
I will say
And he,
I've enjoyed like because I didn't see your guys match in the process. I was sitting beside you guys when you were playing, but just watching both your all's fields at one time or the other, just maximizing with battle cards on both sides, and then it seems like you guys are slowly still handling each other's boards while poking each other's life too.
Yeah, this was a really fun match. The battlefield seemed to ebb and flow. Like it would be full of battle cards, and then there would be none, and then it would be full again, and then none.
yeah, so speaking of ebb and flow, I kind of missed a couple of triggers on my Z card here. I accidentally put it underneath my 5 drop, which is probably why I missed triggers on it. But would have been nice to not have to deal with that blocker. But either way, um, blue is just such a strong defensive color. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that if I can get Baby Hatch out of his hand this turn, maybe I have a chance at winning. But as you as you see as the turn is progressing, he's very happy to pick up life, comboing out of stuff. I'm not getting any premium negates out of his hand this turn. I feel like he's already decided that.
Yeah, the scariest time for my deck is those first couple of turns where I'm bursting three, because I have an insane amount of luck bursting my secret rare. So being able to awaken and not having that happen, now I essentially have two hands. I've got my energy, and then I've also got what's in my hand. Um, so it didn't feel as bad this time around. Thank goodness.
Yeah, so looking back, I probably should have stole one of your giant Majin Boos with that pan, and then popped your smaller battle cards with effects. But I think since this was such a back and forth game, I was just so focused on getting them off the table, I didn't really see that option until later in the turn.
Yeah. And that effect is just one energy, is that right? To be able to steal something?
Yeah, you got to remove her from the game too.
Got it. That's a good move to attack and then steal something.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong secret rare. I don't know why. I mean, recently it's gone down to like 40 or $60, and I don't really know why. It's a pretty strong option, but nowadays there's just so many secret rares that you can almost find the one that's perfect for your deck, and a lot of times it's under $100.
That's encouraging. It was getting pricey there for a while.
Well, I mean, there's still like Beast Gohan and
Beef
Gohan
Gohan, yeah.
Piccolo, and
Yeah.
pretty much if Gohan is on your secret rare, you're paying over 100. But you know,
So, was this just to stop the big chain coming out, Jake?
yeah.
That's what I figured it was. Because was it? Is it 3 energy? You play, you go back into like the 5-drop or something.
Honestly, I wasn't sure exactly what he was capable of, but I know that one drop like goes into a 7. And I think at one point during this game, I like asked to see his drop area, and there's multiple strong 7-drop boos in his drop. So I'm just like, gotta keep these off the table.
Yeah, and this was an interesting spot for me to be in when you played Imposing Presence, because it does take 5K off of my battle cards when they attack. But I think that I may have enough. Those Majin Buu tokens are 0 cost 5K. So I essentially have ways of getting my 15Ks up to where they need to be. So I decide that I'm gonna try to be a little bit more aggressive. I'm blue. I can withstand energy at the during your turn. So we're going in.
Yeah, like looking back at it right now. See, okay, want to cover this real quick.
Yep.
As the attacking player, the activate battle on that promo card actually doesn't benefit you at all. Where it is a skill you have to activate during your combo step. That was a misplay. That I had noticed prior, and I mentioned to them as well. So we're covering those bases.
Although I think you can kind of see the writing on the wall. If you're counting, I think I have one card left in my hand here, and he's got plenty of energy. Lucky for me, I still got a little minus effect in the chamber here. So at the very least, he's going to have to invest energy to pressure me here.
Now you are at 3 life, and I see a couple good cards in his hand right now that are potentially double strikes. Do you not have a super combo currently in your drop, Adam, that you're aware of? Cause I see that 3 of them are in your Z energy.
Yes, yeah, and I think that I'm planning on using some of that Z energy when I'm ready to go into some other flavor that I've got in the deck. So I think that I'm just leaving them there for the time being, so that I can play them later. I've got a couple I've got the Super Saiyan Goku in my Z energy. I've got Cell. I've also got the Android 21 Z Battle. So I've got some options to get that Z energy back in my drop.
Jake, kind of, I see you're establishing a board, which helps you kind of clear things out. When he was comboing off those 17s, were you worried about the next card he might play being Hatch?
Oh, it's pretty big telegraph, yeah.
That's what I was curious about.
There's not a lot I can do defensively, so I basically just have to call him out. Yeah. And I think if you pull up the audio, I'm like, okay, there it is. Lucky for me, though, it's the first card he's played, so it'll get a -10, and then I can just pop it with Power Pole. I think if I was smart here, I would go ahead and restand my 8-drop and try and use it as combo power on the next turn because my hand size is so small.
That's right. You activate main to detach a power pole, right? Or detach a card from underneath it.
Yeah, to switch it back to active mode. And here I just go ahead and get another blocker in play and might as well spend all of my energy and try and get as much combo power as I possibly can because I have no negates at this point.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where it's like, as I guess in the way I'm kind of looking at it, and Adam, correct me, Jake tapped out to establish a board, combo power, extra draws in his hand. He has no hard negates in his hand, but he has 3 life. So pressure, and obviously with using Cell to just kind of clean that board up helps out a lot.
Sure does.
Oh, you just and Jake's just saying, yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah. I have nothing. There's no cards in my hand that can stop that.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
And with that being said, thank you for the opportunity. Keep in mind, there's buttons, links in the descriptions. Check them out. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.